It's that time of the week. It's that time of the week, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man.
Around the shield. Around the shield.
Hey, did you see Thompson or not was well, not Thompson, old boy from the Celtics trying to recreate like all the celebrations from the past NBA players winning the championship. Like
nah, somebody from
I didn't
Who is
even
that?
I didn't even start the timer. My bad, y'all. My bad.
Yeah. Nah, who? Somebody from the Celtics? Which one?
Who was it? I think it wasn't Jaylen Brown.
It was Tatum.
Yeah, Tatum.
Jason Tatum.
So the joke going around social media is that like he kept doing things that like it was just too big of a coincidence that he was doing things exactly like past NBA championships. Like Kevin Garnett, when he said anything is possible, he backed up from the camera and was like, he just started screaming just like KG did. And then he took a picture just like Jordan or Kobe. And then like, stuff like that. He was just doing little things like that. Like there's a video. I might play it. I might play it. But hey, y'all. Yeah. It's funny, bro. It's funny. I might play it during the show. Hey, don't forget to clock in, hit that like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Here we go.
Great Pharaoh. The gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the five rivers.
Years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
now. Heard back from Earth, they just shot a few of my ships down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow, my cloaking devices just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces from can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. Let's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, but now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas, you wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause your mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scrambled they spy drones.
That voice is speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history.
I can't explain it.
What's going on? We back. We are back.
What's good? What's good?
Another edition of Around the Shield, man. Hey, man, this week is just gonna be me and Severe Raider. Big Mike, you know, hey, man, has some things to handle. He'll be back next week. So this is not the 50-50 show. I'm just letting y'all know, man. Y'all see it on the top of the screen. It says Around the Shield.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think we might need to work on getting a special, just in case someone can't make it, we got to get like a special guest host or something. Guest. I don't know, man. We're gonna have to make that happen. Right. We're gonna have to make that happen, man. But what's going on, Severe? How you doing?
Oh man, yeah, man. Nothing much, man. I was I had to take my son to practice today, but I was watching that Ken and Friends concert while I was there, man. And yeah, man.
Y'all don't know, man. Kendrick Lamar had a concert out in Inglewood or the Forum. He was at the Forum, right?
Yeah. He was,
Yep. So, man, I don't know if Drake could come back, man.
This is what we call the repass after the funeral. Everybody is like
this. And the thing is, like, it was a lot of people in attendance. So I'm like, damn, like, big names too. You know what I mean? That they were there to enjoy the festivities. Russell Westbrook was on stage that I seen a clip. You know what I mean? I gotta go back and watch the whole thing. But
man, DeMar DeRozan, like everybody showed up, man. Everybody, just about every LA rapper, you know, that was in the city still showed up. You know, there was one notable guy that didn't hop on stage, man, and it's understandable why he didn't get on stage. One dude from LA, pretty big guy.
Who didn't get on stage in LA?
The Game.
The Game didn't get on stage. Okay.
Yeah, The Game didn't get on stage. Yeah, I don't know if he was necessarily invited, you know, because he's been kind of hedging his bets. Because I think he has a good relationship with Drake. So he it might have been a situation where he didn't want to attend, you know. So he is from Compton, but you know, I think he has a tight relationship with Drake.
LeBron was there. You said LeBron was there. Like
LeBron was there. Bronny was there. There's a bunch of people. Rick Ross was in the crowd. It was a bunch of people, man.
Man,
it was crazy. It was like it was a long show too, man. It was a long show, like 3 hours, some change.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But earlier, before we went live, man, we were talking about Jason Tatum, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think you've seen it, but let me go ahead. I don't know. I want to see the one where there's actually a video of him.
He's like doing all
a good one. But I'll show you this one. But there's a video where it shows side by side of the original celebration and then Jason Tatum recreating it. Well, look, let me post this on us. Let me see if y'all can. Some of y'all might have seen this, but I thought this was funny, man.
Let me check this out.
Let me see, man. Let me.
Oh yeah, just the bottom. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious, bro.
Let me see if I can make this bigger so everybody can see.
We did it! It's a surreal feeling.
Look.
We did it. We did it!
Oh my goodness, bro. That was so forced, bro. That was so forced.
Look.
He's
Who
like,
does
we
remind-
did it.
You know,
He
he's
got
trying.
the Kobe.
He's trying to do his Kobe.
Got the Kobe.
Real feeling. We did it.
Anything is possible.
We did it! It's a surreal feeling.
Oh,
my
man,
goodness,
I
bro.
think it's,
will wonder what happened.
I think he's. What did he say with this one? I think he stole this from someone. Someone was saying he stole this from somebody.
We didn't win. I guess what everybody will wonder what would happen if we didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
He did steal that from somebody. Dang, I can't remember. It was crazy. I just saw that the other day. Bro. I don't remember who said that first. Dang.
I know everybody.
I just saw it the other day. Oh, I think that was Kanye. That was Kanye.
Yeah,
that was Kanye.
Kanye West.
That was Kanye West when he won the Grammy. Because remember before, when I think when Beyonce didn't win, he acted up with Taylor Swift, and then he had another Grammy moment where like he basically threw a temper tantrum, because he didn't win. So that's why he was like, everybody wanted to know what would I do if I didn't win, and it's like I guess we'll never know. Like. This dude he out here reaching for a viral moment, bro.
Nah,
he's
I know,
out
bro.
here reaching.
I know.
He got one. He got one though. He got one.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a good thing.
It's not necessarily a good thing.
He should have just been himself, bro. He should have been himself. You know what? I think this might be a better. There might be a better video right here. I think. Let's see. I think.
Anything is possible. He said we did it. Then he thought like, oh snaps, let's do this right. Let's make this magic.
Look, even Le'Veon Bell, the former running back of the Steelers, said, "Be yourself, man. This is ridiculous." So let me play
Le'Veon is on one.
let me put this on.
I thought we got another moment from Le'Veon.
So hold on, this is the side by side look.
We did it. We did it! Anything's possible. Anything's possible! What they gonna say now? What they gonna say now?
I know everybody will wonder what would happen if we didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
We did it.
Hey man,
We did it.
the internet is undefeated. That's all I'm gonna say, man.
Undefeated, bro.
Hella but he did it to himself, man. It was just way too obvious.
Too obvious, bro.
Man,
like as soon as he did we did it, bro. I was like, oh, bro, this was so forced, bro. This was so forced. Like, he's trying to get on a commercial.
You know what was so bad? You know what's so bad about the we did it, or where he just backs up, we did it, or what would he say?
Yeah, we did it. We did it.
But you know what's so bad about that? When Kevin Garnett did Anything Was Possible, I thought that was corny.
Yeah.
So that he copied something that was already cool.
Exactly, it's already corny. It's like,
yeah.
But at least the Kevin Garnett one, it seemed genuine. Like you could tell Jason Tatum that was like I'm about to land this plane. He was like he was thinking in his head, I'm about to do this. This is about to go viral.
Yeah,
and
man. I thought that was so hilarious when I seen it, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But hey, look, man, y'all already know, man. This is Around the Shield, man. This is a Raiders show. We gonna get into it, man. The latest and greatest with the Las Vegas Raiders, man. And man, it's that time of the year, man. It's gonna be pretty slow from here on out.
Yeah.
The reporting date for training camp is on July 23rd. You know how it is. That first day, they're just gonna be reporting. Hopefully, there's no one, landing going on hot air balloons and if y'all know, y'all know,
freezing
man.
Freezing their feet off.
Freezing their feet, you know. If y'all know, man. But that was an extreme case. But to this day, that's traumatic. If you're a Raider fan, that gotta be traumatic, man. Like, excited to see one of the best receivers in the league. But you know what? We're way past that now. Davante Adams is on this roster. We got plenty of weapons on offense, so that's a whole different. Let's focus on the positive. But did you see the trailer for Davante Adams, or not Davante Adams, but the receiver? They had the quarterback show. Now they have the receiver show coming out, and I think they dropped a trailer, and I'm gonna go ahead. I haven't even seen it, to be honest with you. So we're gonna go ahead.
I haven't seen it yet, bro. I have not seen it yet. So I'm very interested to see what they're talking about.
So we knew that Davante was gonna be part of that lineup Netflix show where they're gonna focus on the receiver position, where they had cameras following. At least I think was it 5 receivers? It was one I think about at least 3 to 4 receivers.
It's 3 receivers and 2 tight ends, if I correctly.
Yeah, that's right. I think one of the tight ends might have been Kittle.
Yeah, then one is Kittle. Yeah, is Kelsey on there too? I don't remember. Sure. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is there, right?
I can look that up. I can look that up real quick.
I think it's Davante, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Kittle. I thought Kelsey.
So this is the lineup. This is the lineup. So it's Davante Adams, Justin Jefferson, Amon St. Brown, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel. Okay. Right.
So 2 49ers. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's that. We're gonna fast forward when they start talking about who gives we don't care. We don't care about the 49ers on this channel. Y'all know what it is. But let me go ahead and play the trailer that we haven't seen. Y'all probably seen it already, but we're gonna react to it. I haven't seen it, so let's go ahead and play this trailer. And let's see.
I mean, he's got paid too. Eesh.
Yeah. I mean, he's that dude right now. That's crazy, man. That Raiders could have drafted this guy, but that's a whole different conversation. I was good with Henry Ruggs, but that was a whole different conversation.
Yeah, a whole different conversation.
That's
my number 2 receiver that year.
Who's your number 2?
Yeah. I had Lamb 1, I had him 2, I had Ruggs 3. But that was cool. I was cool with Ruggs. I didn't like Jerry Jeudy.
I had Lamb 1 for sure. I wanted the Raiders to draft Lamb, but when I seen Ruggs develop, I was like, oh my God.
Ruggs was gonna be a dog, bro.
The potential was way higher with Ruggs.
Ruggs was gonna be a dog.
But yeah, let's get into receiver documentary trailer. Davante Adams is one of the guys that obviously is going to be in it, and it's going to be interesting to see what they put in this trailer, because we know what happened last season when McDaniels and all that stuff was going on. So let me go ahead and play it real quick.
I have an alter ego.
He calls that dance the gritty.
And when I start putting these chains on, start putting the teeth in.
I do catch passes. I do score touchdowns. I get to do everything.
What's up, baby?
I'm like running back, kick returner, receiver.
He does it all.
I'm big on celebrations. If I dance, I need it to go viral.
Let's go!
It's fun.
Bad hit to a sensitive area.
Oh, that sucked. Oh, that was mean. Harrison, my wife's mad at you. But I don't know if you guys would like it as much as I do.
I'm the most competitive person on planet Earth. I can go be a superhero on the field, and then I can come home and be a superhero for my babies.
Oh, that might be a little too big for them. As a kid, you just dream about the Super Bowl. But what is it gonna take to really win one?
My wife, Claire, she's my battery. She recharges me.
High five. The Lions haven't won a division title in 30 years, and the time is now.
He looks so cute. I love you. Good luck.
This is my first entry to make me miss a game. I'm like, I gotta be out there in that field. I never played to be the richest. I played because I love the game.
It's not about me,
So, Daddy.
but I feel like it's my responsibility to give them exactly what they came to see.
The last time we went to the Super Bowl, we didn't win.
Really sucks, but I'm big into speaking things into existence.
I will be back here, and I will be back with a vengeance.
Let us feel the heart beating. The blood pumping.
Hey, this is my crib.
Feel the wet grass. The stadium slowly coming to life. May you have all the power that you need today to finish what must be done.
To the end zone! I found you!
My benchmark is not wins and losses. It's greatness.
All right, coming out July 10th. No free promo over here, Netflix. I understand. We
Exactly.
Everybody watches it, but we ain't giving that free promo. But look, hey, it looks like it's gonna be pretty good. I mean, nothing too crazy. I think we've seen a little bit of the Davante Adams slamming his helmet. I'm gonna be interested to see what he had to say and what he was going through, and just peeping his body language during that time. I mean, we know what it is. I mean, players on the team were having a good time during that stretch with McDaniels as head coach, but it's going to be interesting to watch that documentary. But actually, I want to go back to a certain part right here. Jefferson got hurt during the Raider game?
He was hurt before that game, and then he played.
My Epps. Damn. Epps. Really, I think he laid that hit. He laid that hit.
Marcus Epps. So
Epps.
Jefferson was hurt before that game, and then he missed a few games, and he was projected to come back for that game, and then he came back that game. He didn't play the whole game. He ended up getting taking that hit.
Yeah, right there. See, so look.
Yep.
So this is where the hit happens.
This is my first.
Boom, right there.
Yeah.
Marcus Epps, right there. Marcus Epps, unsung hero, underrated player.
Unsung hero, bro.
You heard Rob Ryan talk about him, and that was he took out their best player. I mean, we know
exactly.
Players are not really, they shouldn't be looking out to injure players, but at the end of the day, like football is a physical sport, so
physical game,
safety has always been known as a position where they're like kind of one of the enforcers.
Exactly.
But in today's NFL, they kind of take that away from him. But that was a legal hit.
Exactly.
And man,
that's exactly what I was gonna say, bro. If it's a legal hit, exactly. If it's a legal hit, bro. If it's legal, hey, I'm all good with it. And like you said, man, he took out one of their best players. Had Justin Jefferson been in there, we might have lost the game 10-0, maybe 17-0, as opposed to 3-0. So, But man.
That puts everything in context because we literally played the Vikings. The Raiders ended up losing 3-0, but like not having to defend against Jefferson, arguably the best receiver, one of the best receivers in the game.
Some people say is the best receiver.
Yeah, like a lot of people are kind of crowning him at this point. Guys like Davante Adams, they're kind of projecting like, he's getting older or whatever. But if Davante goes out there, has a great season, then, people gonna make the argument for him that he's still the best receiver in the game. So, but Jefferson, him getting hurt, that was a big. So Mike Epps right there, great play by Mike Epps, man. I mean, I keep saying Mike Epps.
Mike Epps, right?
Why can't Mike? It's not Mike Epps. I know. The chat is like, huh?
It's yeah, man. But like you said, man, like Rob Ryan talked about him. Unsung hero, bro. Unsung hero. Trevon Merrick talked about him as well. Just their communication, how much he helped his game, like all that stuff that goes on. Like you don't necessarily see that on the field all the time, but that right there was a moment that you see. Like, hey, you know what? You got their best player coming across the middle. We're gonna let you know if you catching passes like this over the middle, they're throwing them hospital balls. We're gonna make you feel it. We're gonna make you think twice before jumping up there and trying to make that catch. So,
Yeah. But Rob Ryan, man, had a lot of good things to say for Epps, man. So, and then for us to just watch this, and I totally forgot that he Jefferson got hurt against her. I thought he was hurt before because it happened earlier in the game. That's probably what it was.
Yes, happened very early.
Yeah. So I thought he was hurt before the game, but then I think, Epps obviously took him out, man.
He was hurt. He was hurt before the game. That was his first game back. So there was like going back and forth whether or not he would play. Then it was announced that he would play. Then he didn't finish out, of course, as you saw, he didn't finish out the game.
Right. Yeah, man. But I'm looking for I want to watch it, man. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. So
man. It has George Kittle as a guy that everybody says Brock Bowers is supposed to be like and play like, man. So, maybe in a few years, Brock Bowers is will have another Raider on the receivers. It'll be Brock.
If he can be half as good of a blocker as Kittle, man, hey, that's a win.
Oh, yeah,
win
as a blocker.
Man.
Oh yeah.
Probably the best, probably the best blocker at tight end. Or you know what I'm saying? Like, like he's literally an extra tackle out there. That's how good he is at blocking at his position. But yeah, man. Hey, look, if he gets close to Kittle, man, that's and then you combine that with Mayer. Whoo,
that's a lethal duo.
Man, and I'm not gonna lie, like. We're gonna get into the. I was gonna bring up the quarterbacks. We're gonna get into it, man. We're gonna get into it. So recently, let's talk about it. Recently, and I don't know how I missed this, but Tashawn Reed, the beat writer for The Athletic that covers Raiders, obviously, he had an article where he listed, I think, the top 5. Not concerns, but biggest things takeaways from him being a part of OTA. So I thought, you know what? This is a guy that was there every day along with other beat writers, and he was able to see everything that was going on with the team during media availability, like during OTAs and mini camp as well. So let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. Oh, I'm not going to waste any time. Let's see. See if I can share this. So here are the 5 biggest takeaways from the offseason program. So it's an article from The Athletic. And the number one, I don't think it was in any order, maybe, possibly. I mean, quarterback is a very important position. So maybe that is the number one concern. But, man, when I seen this, I was like,
yes.
Man, not having a quarterback can really ruin a season. And, he talks about, the quarterback situation is concerning. Both Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew struggled during OTAs. They split snaps with first string fairly evenly, but neither found much success during practices that were open to reporters. But, he obviously talks about, they're still learning the offense and getting comfortable in Lou Getsy's offense. But, he had to admit that it's kind of like, it's still kind of concerning that O'Connell nor Minshew displayed any progress at all. Like they were just, but pretty much just to sum it up, they was trash. They was terrible in OTAs. Look, he goes on to describe like both quarterbacks struggled to push the ball downfield, had too many off-target throws, and frequently put the ball in harm's way. It is OTAs, the minicamp, and we all know the defenses. We've seen what type of defense that was able to finish the season last season, and we're expecting them to take that leap. And they're going into their 3rd year in the same system. So, and while the other side of the ball is their first year in that system, it's a lot of, we'll give them a little benefit of doubt. But like this thing was titled, "The quarterback situation is concerning."
Yes.
You know what I mean? So this has me a little bit worried. I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the biggest concerns going into the season, just based off the experience, type of players that were going in. But the good thing is that like the Raiders are not depending on O'Connell and Minshew. That's not the plan for them to take over games, to carry this team. That's not the plan. Yeah. So the Raiders are going into it with a whole different mindset. So what was your take? What was your take from this right here from Tashawn?
So you can spend it either way, right? And there are people that are going to spend it. Like, oh, this is only OTAs, and the timing isn't right with the offense yet, and as you said, the defense has been in the same defense for 3 years. They're returning 9 starters, and one of the 2 starters that didn't return, they upgraded and brought in Christian Wilkins to replace them. So this is to be expected. But the one thing that there's two things that are most concerning is that the fact that they're not pushing the ball downfield. Like how long you've been in the offense, that shouldn't control your aggression, right? Like right now is the time that you want to be taking those chances. And that brings me to the second point, right? Is that they're putting the ball in harm's way. Like you don't know what you can do until you actually attempt to do it. Like, can I fit this throw in this window with this receiver? Can he come down with this 50-50 ball? Is that no shout out? But is that something I can do? So, putting the ball in harm's way, I'm not as concerned about, but I also want you to be pushing the ball downfield. But if you're putting the ball in harm's way like too often, you don't want to build that in as a habit, right? You want to push your limits, kind of see where your limits are as a quarterback and with your arm strength, but you don't want to build those bad habits early on, even though it is OTA. So hopefully they get that stuff cleaned up by training camp, and we can go into training camp and flush all this bad quarterback play down the toilet and kind of move forward from there.
And I think we talked about this before. Like we've heard this coming out of training camp. I don't know if it was from the athletic beat writers or some other beat writers as well that were there. They talked about the struggle to push the ball downfield, and we talked about it before. Maybe the timing's not there.
Yeah,
they just need to get on the same page. But and I agree. I think this frequently being put the ball in harm's way. I think this is the time where you kind of take a lot of risks. Like you try to figure out like what works, what doesn't work, what works with certain receivers, what doesn't work with certain receivers. You know what I mean? Like I think that all matters. But like, look, we know how important that quarterback position is. We know how important, and that can make or break a team. You know what I mean? If it's that bad, it could hold back a team. But like I said earlier, the Raiders are not going in to the season saying O'Connell be that guy, be the franchise guy. Minshew be the franchise guy. I feel like they know what they have, or they feel like they know what they have at the quarterback position. They couldn't address it this offseason, but they're going into it like, look, we're gonna put out a great defense. We're gonna run the ball, and we got too many weapons on offense for it to not work for quarterbacks that you can say are like probably average.
Yeah.
But it's good to have. I feel like I know a lot of Raider fans are gonna be like, well, why you average? Like, oh no, like they could be. But right now, that's all speculation. We haven't seen anything more than average. Like, so you can't just say like, oh, they're gonna be more than this. It's a possibility. Second year in the league. I'm not saying you're wrong. I hope they're franchise quarterbacks. But man, I can't act like there's gonna be a great chance for them to be that guy for this team. Like we gotta see it, man, before we believe it.
Yeah. But and one more thing that could be a little bit concerning is I don't know like the complete context of when these off target throws are being made or when they're putting the ball in harm's way. But generally a lot of OTA stuff is like 7-on-7. So there are a lot of 7-on-7 sessions where there is no pass rush. So like there should be really no reason for you to be pulling the ball and to be off target with your throws or to be putting the ball in harm's way, because as like you don't have to really worry about a pass rush. Usually there's a countdown, so you have X amount of seconds to get the ball out, usually like 2.5 3 seconds, but still it's like there's no defensive ends in front of you, nobody bearing down on you. So all you see is the receivers and the DBs and the linebackers. So you should be able to make at the very least on target throws. Now whether they're getting batted down because the defense is that good, no, that's another thing. But the fact that they're off target as well, that's something that can be concerning, especially when there's no pass rush to kind of manipulate you into being off target when you're throwing the ball.
Now, this is interesting because I'm sure like the Raiders, the coaches, the GM, they're all in constant contact, especially if they're trying to add some players to the roster, add some players on the team. And we talked about this before as a possibility because, hey, look, if y'all been watching this long enough, you know that like we want to get a potential franchise quarterback out the draft. We like right now, I'm not betting on AOC to be that guy. Hopefully he is, but I'm not betting.
Yeah.
And I brought up a scenario. We talked about a scenario, I should say, about Hendon Hooker. Does Tom Telesco start looking at other possibilities at that quarterback position in the trade market? Like are there teams willing to trade a certain quarterback? Because if you can go through, sometimes you can go through OTAs and be like, you know what? If it's way too obvious, they're going to try to see if they can make, because the quarterback position, you want to get that guy in the building so they can like at least soak up that playbook and have some time to at least get pretty much caught up on that, that scheme, that offensive system, because he's going to be the guy that's going to be making the throws, being the leader on that team. Like, do you see? And we talked about this before, but now at this point, like when you hear some of the beat writers talk about how bad the quarterback play has been in OTAs and minicamp, it makes you think like, all right, well, do they make a move?
The problem is that there's two problems right now. Right now would be the time. If you're going to do it, you have to do it right now. But then you're kind of basing your decision off of what we saw out of Aiden and Gardner Minshew last year, and what we've seen out of these OTAs. And we're just talking about, hey, OTAs is kind of the time you want to let these guys experiment and have some room to do so. But if you wait until after the first week of training camp, you're already bringing in a guy that's going to be behind the 8 ball in terms of knowing the system and timing with the receivers, which is part of those struggles with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. So you're bringing in a guy, even later into that process so they're going to probably have to go through those same struggles as well. And now you're on a much different, trajectory in terms of your time, because you got to start getting prepared for the season. And then another thing that could happen is that for as bad or as much as they have struggled, right, these guys, Gardner and Aiden, they have been there all off season working, building relationships with these teams. So if you bring in a guy from the outside, then people are going to view them as outsiders, right? So it may not be a situation where that guy can come in and take the reins and be a leader, because he's an outsider at that point, right? He's a guy that's you're bringing this guy in to take the job of the guys we've been here working with this entire time, who've been in here grinding with us, sweating with us, lifting weights, going through this playbook, throwing with us in the offseason, doing all this stuff. Now this guy that hasn't been here is coming in potentially just take their job. So it could that could create some animus between, or at least some kind of standoffishness between them and the players that are already here. So it's a very touchy time. And it's not like the guys we're looking at are going to be some established guys that are going to be, oh well, we know this guy is a winner. Like if it's Hendon Hooker, like we don't know what Hendon Hooker is as a pro, because we've never seen him. So if it's somebody established, maybe that can kind of quell some of those thoughts in the players, because they know at least, hey, this guy, he's won. I know what he is. He's a known commodity. But right. to bring in a guy that's essentially, even less known than Aiden, because at least Aiden has some starts under his belt. Like Hendon doesn't even have that, even though we believe he has more talent, but he doesn't even have the experience in the start. So, it could be a situation where they're putting him in the position to low key fail.
Yeah. Not and it's that you make some good and valid points, man. Because if they trade for a quarterback, that he at least has to be in that number 2 slot in terms of competing for the starting role.
Yeah.
Because you can't have 3 quarterbacks. There's not enough snaps to go around for a 3-way quarterback battle. You know what I mean? Like it got to be 2-man race. Okay. You know what I mean? You could see that working out. You could see how the coaches can determine, all right, like who they possibly want to start at quarterback. But at a 3-way battle, you essentially got to be like, you know what? This is not going to work out with this quarterback, like at all. One guy, it's going to be odd man out. And if you're trading for a guy, that means most likely it's going to be out of Minshew or AOC. They're probably essentially going to be like, you know what? We don't believe in this guy. You made good points about like the locker room too. Like you got to take into account like they're behind these two guys until further notice, unless it's an established veteran. I get that. Or injury.
Yes.
Injury. So it is, and that's like, man, that's the tough part about it. It's like, man, we kind of seen this coming. You couldn't make a move earlier. Like, come on.
That's the thing, bro. As soon as Jared Goff signed that extension, that's the time you get on the phone with the Lions. Like, you know what? Hey, you got a quarterback. We're in need of a quarterback, or we want to add more talent to this room. You know, what will it take to get Hendon Hooker off your hands? He's not a guy that you don't think he's going to play at all for the next 4 years at least. So what would it take to, like, you know, maybe a fifth? I'd trade, like, let's say and people are, it's a 5th round pick for a guy that's like, would you trade? I mean, I personally would, but would you trade Tommy Eichenberg for Hendon Hooker? Man, bro, I'd run to the phone to make that trade, right? Like, you giving me this 2002 version of linebacker for a guy that could potentially be a franchise quarterback, bro? I'm making that trade all day. So, but on another note, you could be trading, you know, I think, you know, maybe a Max Crosby type player, you know, that like, so 5th round picks, it depends on how you use them. But
I was actually thinking earlier than that time. That I get why you said that time, because I'm sure that's when the Lions would have been open.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as they kind of signed up, you know, Jared Goff, they're pretty essentially like, this is going to be our guy for the next how many years that contract is. So a guy like Hendon Hooker can be seen as a guy can be looked at as a guy that's looking from the outside, looking in. I was thinking earlier. I'm like, I get it. Minshew has been a solid backup everywhere he's gone. He's kind of been that bridge starter. I get it, but it's like, man, like I like a little bit more potential. That's the thing. The ceiling is really low. I don't think it's super high with a guy like Minshew. It's not super high, and the same can go for maybe even at AOC, even though he's going into his second year. But we'll see, man. I don't want to be too negative. I hope it works out those quarterbacks. But look, all I'm saying is, I'm sure if they seen OTAs, they had a good look of like how these players looked on the field. There have been times where there were players cut in training camp, and they were drafted in the 3rd round. You know what I mean? There's been times where, like, you know what? And I think Mike Mayock, I think he talked about it. I think someone asked him, like, hey, when did you know when you made a mistake? When you drafted a guy? Like, when you figured out, like, okay, yeah, this guy, you know, I was wrong. Like, I didn't know it was going to look like this, you know? And I forgot. I don't know if it was him or maybe another GM. It was one of the interviews he had recently. Hopefully I'll get a chance to find that. But I just think that, like, hey, look, if there's an opportunity to get better somewhere, I think, and the Raiders with the cap space and, like, you know, they can make a trade here and there. But I don't want to stay too long on the quarterback position. It's looking like it's a concern right now, you know, and that's hopefully it gets better as time goes on, especially training camp. But number 2 thing that the beat writer Tashawn Reed noticed was that nobody has an edge in that quarterback competition. So right now it's down to Brandon Facyson and Jacorian Bennett as of right now. No veteran has been added at that corner position. Will they? There's a possibility. the Raiders were rumored to be, or not even rumored. They pretty they pretty much announced. Was it an announcement? I think there was a report that came out that Raiders are one of the teams that were in on Steven Nelson. So that tells us that they were in on that veteran cornerback market. So we'll see how that shakes out. But for right now, Brandon Facyson and Jacorian Bennett, they're kind of like, they're being rotated in with the starters. Facyson has the size, the length, the experience, and Bennett's the more athletic, younger player. He got, is faster. You would think Bennett would probably be the guy that I think everybody's rooting for, even the coaching staff. Like, you got a young player on a rookie deal, and if he can just take that role, then like that settles that position for the next how many years? Like what, at least 2 to 3 years, right? He's under his rookie deal.
Yeah, at least including next year, it'll be the next 3 years.
Right. So that's something that we got to keep an eye on. It's probably going to go down to the wire. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the cornerback room before we move on?
I mean, I was really looking for an upgrade in the draft, which is, unfortunate we weren't able to make that happen. You see that, we drafted a guy in the 3rd round and he's not even in the conversation, which is, to me, that's a big concern. If you draft a guy that high, you would hope that he'd be, at least in the conversation, battling to start. So the fact that he's not even like mentioned here at all, like, a name to watch out for is the Cameron Richards, like no mention of him at all. So I think that's a big concern right there. Brandon Facyson, he's a guy that he has experience. We kind of seen him play before. He played pretty well down the stretch, then left in free agency. And Jacorian Bennett, we kind of saw him last year. He struggled basically mightily throughout the process. He's a guy we've been hearing a lot about in camp who has been making plays, but guess what? He's also a guy we heard about last year making a lot of plays in camp. And then that play didn't necessarily translate to the NFL field. So hopefully with a little bit more experience and learning from, the struggles that he had last year, he won't make those same mistakes again. Ideally, hopefully he's one of those guys that's like that. But if not, it looks like we have, I guess, a safety blanket there in Brandon Facyson, who's a guy who can still be a very solid, serviceable corner. I was looking for a little bit more than that, which also brings us kind of back to that quarterback situation, because the fact that since they didn't draft a quarterback at all this entire draft, if they go out and trade for one, it's going to kind of look bad, because like, bro, you had opportunity to kind of address this need, and much like with corner, right? Like you drafted 2 corners in this draft, but you had an opportunity to take a corner in the 1st round and you didn't. So now you're saying like you're going to basically put a Band-Aid over this gash, this bleeding wound, with this older veteran guy, when you had an opportunity to get a blue chip prospect in the 1st round of the draft and you elected not to do so. So, man, that's why I think they're probably going to run with the guys that they have at both positions, if for nothing else, to really evaluate what they have in those younger guys. And a little bit of that is also some saving face, because they didn't necessarily have an opportunity to draft a quarterback, but they definitely had an opportunity to draft a corner, and they elected not to early in the draft.
Yeah, you're right, man. I think it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's a high chance that it's going to happen. It's maybe if injury happens, or for whatever reason it's so bad, there's a small chance, but I don't think it's going to happen, just because you're right. They're not going to admit that they're wrong this early. Like, it's going to look bad. It's going to look bad if they go and trade for a quarterback when they could have drafted a quarterback. But to be fair, to be honest, they weren't fans of the quarterbacks that they're there. I mean, if they were, they would have drafted them, Yeah. And they were on the board when the Raiders had a chance to pick at least in the 4th, 5th round. So that's when I think the quarterbacks start going in the 5th round, I believe. Yes. And we passed on guys like Spencer Rattler and all that. So we'll see how it shakes out. But as far as that cornerback room, it's going to go down to the wire. That's pretty much the message. It's going to go down to the wire. So another training camp, or not training camp, but off-season observation, in which this one is kind of the obvious. This one is the obvious, man. The offensive line.
Yeah.
Offensive line seems pretty, settled. I wish Mike was here to chime in on this one, but this is pretty much talks about how, like, guys like Holtman are most likely they're gonna be ready. He's gonna be ready by hopefully training camp. And then you got like the Jackson Powers Johnson, Andre James, Dylan Parham. Guys either are playing in a system that fits their skill set, or we got some young talent at key positions. I mean, Thayer Munford is a guy that, like, what is it going to look like in this system? We'll see.
Yeah.
But the O-line is pretty much settled as far as the guys like that are most likely going to make the team. Cody Whitehair, who knows? There might be some, but I think that he is a veteran interior guy. Andres Pete is a guy that I think they really like. Got a little bit of versatility. So O-line is pretty much is settled. We kind of know this already, but what are your thoughts, man, on this observation as far as the O-line kind of like being settled at that position group?
I will say that our starters, I like what we have at starter for the most part, and I still have concerns about Thayer Munford on the right side, but every other starter I have if they can stay healthy, I'm pretty confident in. Jackson Powers Johnson is coming off an injury. He had some concussion problems in college as well, I believe. So that can be a little bit concerning. And then Colton Miller with the shoulder, that's concerning as well. But if those guys are healthy, I think that is a very, very good left side of your line. I think Andre James is a very serviceable center. May even be better than that in this zone blocking scheme. I like Dylan Parham on the right side. I just have questions about Thayer Munford and our depth. At no point do I want to see Cody Whitehair out there playing any kind of football for us. And same with Andres Pete. I really do not want to see these guys on the field. I know we have Dalton Wagner as a backup. He's a guy that may not necessarily be a fit in this system. So, like our depth is quite concerning at the offensive line. And, one of these guys is, just statistically, one of these guys is bound to get hurt. Right. And if and when they do, like let's say it's let's say it's Andre James, right? God forbid. Then Dylan Parham likely has to, or maybe Jackson Powers Johnson has to move over to center. But one of those guys has to move over to center, and then we have to move one of these other players to guard. So we're moving two positions at that point. So it's concerning, man. It's concerning. Like, if we're healthy and our front line, our starters are good, but that depth piece, man, I do not want to see DJ Glaze on the field at all right now, man. I don't want to see Andres Pete out there. I don't want to see Cody Whitehair. I don't want to see any of those guys out there, but one of them may be forcing the duty. So, we'll see.
No, I hear you. And I think that's just the Raiders, as they're currently constructed, they need more depth. After a while, like, if you keep missing first round picks, if you keep drafting the wrong players, this is what's going to happen. If you keep missing on draft picks, you're not going to hit on all of them, but if you can hit on most of them, especially the early round picks, then after a while you're going to have some depth. You're going to be one of the most talented teams in the league if everything works out, right? But the Raiders, they're definitely top end heavy as far as, like, they got some blue chip players at certain positions. You got the Davante Adams, you got Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins. Would you put him in that blue chip status?
Oh, yeah.
Just because he's probably like top 10 at his position at the very least.
Yeah, top five, top five-ish.
Right. So, that it's going to be interesting to see the Raiders. I think it's going to take probably one or two off seasons to create that depth. Like, if they can have a good draft this year, like young players contribute on this team, they're able to get some players from this draft, and then combine that with next draft, then we're talking. then I'm like, all right, we got something to work with. Now we can talk about the Raiders being a team that can possibly compete in the playoffs year in, year out if everything is going right. But that being said, let's move it along, man. Let's look at some of the other observations here. Let's see here.
But I would say one last thing though, that's like our lack of depth is why I'm still mad that we let McClendon Curtis get away from us. That was a guy who was a guard prospect. I think as a guard prospect. Went to Seattle. A lot of us liked, and he's a guy that I would much rather be giving McClendon Curtis some burn, as a backup over a guy like Cody Whitehair. At least you can kind of project him. He's on the upward trajectory where Cody Whitehair, he wasn't really that great last year, and he's kind of on the back end of his career.
Yeah. And it is what it is. I think the Raiders are not counting on him to be a starter, but when you're talking about guys who are in those backup roles who can start in a pinch, they've seen a lot. They're able to like come in. They're professionals. You know what I mean? Those like depth pieces. That's what a Cody Whitehair. I mean, obviously, we don't want him to start, but. Hey, if a guy like Getsy and James Crabb, they're really high on him, then it's a good chance he'll start. But if, let's say, DJ Glaze really impresses, then it makes...
I hate that name, man.
DJ Glaze, man, it's crazy. But speaking of young talent, man, so the observation here is Raiders believe in their young core that's on the rise. Guys like Trey Tucker, we heard Pierce talk about him like he's going to be the breakout candidate of the year. Obviously, Zamir White, first year starting at running back. Brock Bowers, the Powers Johnson, Malcolm Kuntz, linebacker DeAndre. Like there's some guys who are on rookie deals right now contributing. And I posed this question earlier, but we decided let's wait on this. Trayvon Moehrig. If Trayvon Moehrig has a great year, do you see the Raiders extending a contract?
Yes, because safeties, they're not pricey, so I don't think it won't be cost prohibitive to bring Trayvon Moehrig back, and not as cost prohibitive as it will be for a guy like Malcolm Kuntz. Like Trayvon Moehrig is going to be much cheaper than Kuntz, so I definitely think and the Raiders may take that approach where instead of paying Kuntz what it would take to bring him back on a long-term extension, I would, they may prefer to, we'll bring back Nate Hobbs and Spillane, who's not mentioned here because he's an older guy, and Merrick over, a guy like Kuntz. So I definitely think, especially with the way Rob Ryan was talking about him, like they obviously like him. And the tandem he's been able to form with Marcus Epps, who's also going to be a free agent after this year. I mean, they got to bring back at least one of those guys, and hopefully both, because it seems that Marcus Epps might have been the key to unlocking who Trayvon Moehrig is as a player this year. So keeping those guys together, I think, is the best course of action. And also, if you want to get some laughs in, then you want to check out Mike Epps, who Pharaoh brought it early.
Man, Severe got jokes.
Huh?
Oh man, that's hilarious, man. Hey, look. Can you see a world with Matt? Because I'm looking at the main guys I'm looking from this list, right, are guys who are on their last year of their rookie deal. You got Kuntz, you got Moehrig, and you got Nate Hobbs. Those are the three biggest names that you can say that are on their last year of the deal as far as a rookie deal. Can you see a world? I mean, like with these guys coming back, all of them come back, and the Raiders are able to extend a contract, or at the very least keep them on a franchise. I think you can only franchise one player at a time, I believe.
Yes,
one player at a time. So, maybe a Kuntz could be a franchise candidate. If they can't get a contract done, we all know pass rushers get paid. and I don't think there's a whole lot of pass rushers coming out next offseason, free agency. I know we're looking ahead, but like, is there a world where Kuntz, Nate Hobbs, and Trayvon Merrick are extended contracts to come back? I know Trayvon Moore, you said yes, just because safety market is a little bit more manageable. But, you know, I mean, Nate Hobbs, what is he going to get? You know, Kuntz, you know, is going to be the guy that's probably going to be leading that charge as far as getting paid the most out of the bunch. But can the Raiders bring all three players back?
If Malcolm Kuntz replicates the production that he had down the stretch of last year, there's no way they can bring all of them back. If Malcolm Kuntz is the player that he was, you know, in the first half of the season, there might be a situation where they don't want to bring him back. So, you know, I honestly don't see a scenario where they bring all of these guys back. And I as I said before, they may elect to keep to plug the majority of holes. In, like, you know, you don't want to create a hole at nickelback, because who do we have that's going to be our nickel if, you know, without Hobbs, right? You know, we may have to find out this year, because Hobbs, he's been prone to injury, and that may affect their decision right there, right? Just the fact that he's been injured the past few years. But we really don't have a great fill-in at this time, or somebody we can identify who will fill in immediately. Before we had a Meek. Right now, well, I kind of don't know who that guy would be. Same thing with Merrick, right? Like, we don't know what Chris Smith is as a pro. We don't even know if this regime likes him at all, because they didn't draft him. So I think they would want to keep Merrick, and Merrick is very versatile as well. So, you know, you have that versatility there at the safety position. He's a guy that at TCU, he would come down and play in the nickel. So do you really want to lose him? So with Malcolm Kuntz, and as I've said before, they have a ready-made replacement, you know, in Tyree Wilson, a guy who they spent a high draft pick on, who they've spoke glowingly of this entire offseason, who's getting his first full offseason as a pro, instead of, you know, rehabbing. He's actually being able to work on his game and improve as a player. So I think that if it's a situation where they have to let Kuntz go, they're a lot more comfortable with his backup, because his backup is a guy who was, you know, by some accounts, the best defensive end prospect in that previous draft. One name that was interesting on there, though, I will say, is that they talked about Davante Diablo, and that's not a name that you've been hearing a lot about at all. People just haven't really asked about him at all. So the fact that he was mentioned as a guy that's part of that young core that they really like, that is very interesting, because I know some people want to assume that Tommy Eichenberg is going to be his replacement, or maybe the replacements for Spillane, but Davante Diablo has a level of athleticism that no linebacker on our current roster has, outside of maybe Amari Burney, right? But I think Davante is even a little bit bigger than Amari, so he's just a different level of athlete. So if he can put it all together, that's just another piece on defense that we have. And he's a guy that's a former DB. You know, he could, you know, provide a lot more versatility onto what we do on defense, with his ability to and his familiarity, you know, in coverage.
I think when mentioning Davante Diablo, they're just talking about players who are on their rookie deals, and that are contributing. That are going to be starters, because Diablo is the other starter alongside Spillane, because we know that Patrick Graham runs like a 4-2 base defense. So there's going to be two linebackers on the field, and it's going to be as of right now, is Diablo and Spillane. And the third linebacker, I believe, is Masterson, and after that, you got Eichenberg. You know, we'll see how training camp shakes out, what the depth chart looks like. But as of right now, that's the top three. That's all those are probably the linebackers on the roster right now, and how the depth chart, if we were to talk about it today at this very moment, what it looks like right now. So I think it's obviously Spillane, Diablo, but it was mentioning not just the linebackers, but like just players on the rookie deals. And man, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough, because You got 3 starters that are on the last year of their rookie deals, and the Raiders are going to have to decide who they should bring back, who they can't, because they also have to like plan for the future. They also have to see like, all right, when is Max Crosby going to be getting an extension? I know he got a raise this season, but he's on a very team-friendly deal, just based off the type of player he is, because he can get paid. He can get paid if he wanted to, and he will. He will get paid when that time comes. I'm looking at, when you're thinking about, man, other player like Jack Jones. If Jack Jones puts out a great year at corner is another high value position. You got to be like, you know what, we got to find a way to bring him back because he's our number 1 corner, or he has that locked in stone as far as that starting corner on his team, outside corner. So Jack, you got to plan ahead, like, and you got to look at like, you know what, does it make sense to bring back a safety that's or over a corner? Because essentially, if you give a contract to maybe a Morgue, that money can go to probably extending a guy like Jack Jones, who, if he has another good year, could definitely get paid. So the Raiders are gonna have to figure that out. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, damn, man. Like, I like Morgue. He's been playing well as of late. You know what I mean? Shout out Epps, who kind of helped with bringing him along I think him and Morgue were pretty solid last year, at the very least. Now it's about the Raiders kind of figuring out what players they're going to bring back. But just to end it, this is probably the biggest obvious that we know, and I'm going to go ahead and put this, is that, the pretty much, let me put this on the screen, defense looks primed to make another leap.
Yes.
Which we kind of seen coming, but, according to Sean, who's there at all of the media related, OTA days and obviously minicamp, look, he's stating obvious right now. Like, the way the Raiders defense is finished last season, the type of players that they were able to add in D-line, which is probably their deepest group on defense. Yeah. And, like the confidence from Pierce and the players, like you could tell like they have a little swagger. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised by this. Well, what I'm most concerned is it's really the offense. But last year, though, if y'all remember, the concern wasn't the offense, it was the defense.
Yeah.
And then the defense was the surprise, and the offense was surprised for totally different reasons, good and bad. So
exactly,
I just hope that it's not the case this year, man. I hope the defense takes. I hope they take that another. They jump to the next level, which I think is definitely possible because I think the coaching is there, the players are pretty much there. They got what it takes, man. So, yeah, man. Hey, a good article by Tashawn Reed on his observations of the offseason and what he thought, what he's seen, just being out there. So definitely check it out, man, on The Athletic, man. But yeah, that pretty solid article. But yeah, man, let's not waste any time, man. Let's move it along, man. Hey, man, it's that time.
Uh-oh.
It's that time, y'all.
Yeah, I know what time it is.
Hey, man.
Yeah, I know what time it is.
Yeah, y'all know what the time it is, man. It's comments of the week, man. We gotta have a better name than this right now. Raider Nation, I don't know. It got Raider Nation. I don't know. It gotta be something. It gotta be something.
I got one. We'll talk offline. I think I got one.
All right. Hey, let us know in the chat if you guys have any ideas, man. We'll throw it in the hat too as well, man. We gotta. It's comments of the week is just so obvious.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a more creative way of saying this. But that being said, man, we appreciate the comments. We got a couple of comments we want to react to real quickly, and I'm just gonna go ahead and show this comment right here, man. Shout out Joey. He says, "Bruh, if Marshawn Lynch was coaching my kid, I wouldn't be saying shit. Just be blessed that a legend is teaching your own." So this is pretty much a comment about the video that we played last week Marshawn Lynch. It was a video that's been around for a while. I mean, it wasn't something that happened the other day, but I guess it's going viral again. And it was a mother of a player who wasn't happy on how her kid was getting coached or talked to or whatnot. And, Marshawn was pretty adamant about how he coaches and he keeps people accountable and like, I'm going to cuss. She didn't like that he cussed, yada, yada, yada. She was all up in Marshawn's face. So this is what this comment is about. Severe, man, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, man, I completely agree. As I've talked about before, right now I have my son. He's playing football and he has a trainer. And, before we settled on this trainer, my brother looked into another trainer. And that trainer was $120 a session. And, my son goes twice a week. And get this, that was the less expensive option, right? We went with a guy that was more expensive, because he was a former NFL player. So we have a more expensive option than a $120 a week, or $120 a session. So that's twice a week. That would have been $240 a week, which is about $1,000 a month. So imagine that's the going rate for trainers. And that's, like I said, that was the less expensive option. So imagine that you have one of the greatest running backs of all time, right? A player known for probably the most iconic run of all time, with the Beast Quake, when Seattle took down New Orleans, he knocked off Darren Sharp. He put the team on like you have the guy that is responsible for that run and who was iconic, right? Iconic in the game, one of the best to ever do it, teaching your kid. So you're either paying a bunch of money for your kid to go to that camp. And if I'm paying a bunch of money for my kid to go to that camp, I'm yo, bro, you better be doing what needs to be done to maximize the money I'm spending. But if your kid is at that camp for free, you mean to tell me you have one of the best to ever do it, coaching up your kid for free, and you're worried about somebody cussing at him? So you're either wasting your money by him not maximizing what your son is doing, or you're wasting his time because he's out there doing it for free. So, let this man do what you brought your kid there to do, and let's learn how to play the game the right way.
Right. Yeah, and I know people are gonna be like, oh well, just because he's that person doesn't mean he could do whatever he wants or whatever. But yeah. I don't think, just looking at the video, I don't think that was his. I don't think he had ill intent. I don't think he had bad intentions. He kind of was like, hey, look, if a guy's not listening, if a guy's not doing what he's supposed to, not paying attention, whatever the case may be, he's gonna keep them accountable. He's gonna tell them to leave. He's gonna he has to let them know. There's always, you gotta be accountable of your actions, and I think that's what he's teaching them. And you talked about this last week as well, about accountability and stuff like that. So and how football, kind of teaches you certain lessons.
That's coaching, man.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that's played organized sports has been MF'd and all that stuff, bro. If you play sports, but that's just part of it. It's you gotta learn. Don't take that. If it's somebody I'm the first person, right? If somebody disrespects my son,
right,
or any of my kids, right? I'm gonna be the first one. All right, bro, you gonna have to see me, as a man. But but and if some lady out there does it, yo, where's your husband at? Because he about to have to see me because he didn't, needs to handle this situation when he gets home. Somebody about to catch these hands. But that's not disrespect, bro. That's just how, in the realm of sports, that's how just people talk. I've been MF more times than I can count by coaches, right? I've been called, I had a basketball coach, Coach Dion, called everybody numbnuts. Get over here, numbnuts. That was just how we talked. And we understood that. That's just part of the culture. So you can't, if you want your kid to be in these sports, Like that's going to happen. I think Max talked about it with Basaccia. Like Basaccia said, Basaccia MF'd them and cussed them out and all kind of stuff. But at the same time, at the end of the day, like when he did something right, he would be the first one there to praise him. So that's what coaches are, right? They're going to be the hardest people on you, but when you get it right, they're going to be the first one to be like, man, you got it. You did it right. So you can't raise them to be like so protected all the time, where all you hear is the good stuff, because that's not going to be how life is.
Yeah, and look, I think everybody's on the same page. Like I said, it was an old video. Marshawn Lynch, y'all need to check it out, or check our last show when we talked about it. But I appreciate the comment, Joey. Man, appreciate the support, y'all. But I got one. We got one more. This one right here. Think Trent Dilfer. And I think he was just talking about the quarterbacks that we have on our roster, or if it would be possible to win with the quarterbacks that we have. I think that's what he's kind of referring to, because he's talking about Trent Dilfer. And I'm not going to lie, like if the Raiders have anybody close to Trent Dilfer on this roster or play like him, I think it's going to be a long season, man. I hope a guy like Minshew or AOC is not no Trent Dilfer out there, because watching Trent Dilfer back in the day, like he was not good at all. I mean, he probably was probably a good backup, but he was gonna blow you away with his arm talent. I think maybe my guy, Mr. P Miles, man, shout out to you, man. Appreciate the comment, but I hope we don't get a Trent Dilfer at quarterback. I hope it's not Trent Dilfer at quarterback. I hope. But if it comes with a all-time great defense, would you take it?
Yeah. I mean, we have not like we have a choice. Like,
yeah, if we had a choice, if like, all right, let's say we go to the playoffs, right? We go to the playoffs, and the Raiders, they, the quarterback play was solid all year long. They were able to get to the playoffs. Would you want that scenario, or would you want a scenario where the Raiders have an all-time great defense, but the quarterback plays Trent Dilfer-ish?
Oh, man. I'm going to choose...
Both make the playoffs.
But we have better quarterback play in the first one?
Yeah, but it's solid. And defense solid as well. They're able to make the playoffs. But in the other scenario, all-time great defense, Trent Dilfer, quarterback play. Also go to playoffs.
I'm probably going first scenario, just because if you get into the dance with the quarterback play, even if your quarterback is solid, you can that guy can get hot. Right. We saw like it doesn't happen often, right? We saw Nick Foles do. I think that was kind of the last guy to do it. Jeff Hostetler did it a long time ago. But he wasn't he started more than just in the play. But he's a guy that was mid quarterback, but he did it. He did enough. There's a very few times where the defense won the title, right? We think about the Ravens off top, but that was one of the best defenses ever, right? We think about the Buccaneers, and I still maintain to this day that if the Buccaneers play anybody else, they may not win that game. And if the Raiders play anybody else but the Buccaneers, they win the Super Bowl that year. So I think that was just a special case where Gruden was their coach. And, we had Bill Callahan, and we know how Bill Callahan turned out, and we know what he did to our center before the game, where he didn't even show up. And, so that was a whole nother thing. So you're more likely to win with, a solid quarterback that can get hot in the playoffs than you are with a bad quarterback and a great defense. There's very few times that scenario has happened where great defenses have won championships.
See, I'm gonna think. I'm gonna actually think ahead a little bit more I'm thinking about like the future, not just the playoffs. I see what you're
Okay,
saying. You're
okay.
saying that that's the way I'm going to look at it. And I see what you're saying. You're looking at it from perspective of like a chance at winning the Super Bowl. And I think and having solid quarterback play gives you a better chance than a guy like Trent Dilfer. You know, he's not going to give you. But what comes with it is an all-time great defense. And even if we don't move, like we don't like, let's say, have that postseason success right away, we seen what Seattle was able to do with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We know that it works. So if we're able to get a quarterback in the second, first, third, whatever case may be, where he's coming to a team where all he has to do is just protect the football, don't turn the ball over, and just run the offense, because the defense is going to be dominating out there because you have an all-time great defense. And hopefully you would think that they probably would have a running game. So I'm thinking, you know what? All-time, you're giving me all-time great defense. That means the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl. Maybe not that first year, maybe within the next couple seasons, because all-time great defense, that means you won the chip.
Yeah, well, if you're looking at it not just in a vacuum, not just that one playoff run, then I'm probably going all time. I mean, I'm going all time great defense, just because at that point you'll be able to identify, you know what, hey, the quarterback is a missing piece. Kind of like what the Rams did, where they had, you know what, even though they had Goff, they had a guy that was better than just, you know, they're better than Trent Dilfer, but they had a great defense. I want to say they were number one in defense. 1 year, and they said, you know what, Jared Goff is a guy that's not getting it done in the clutch in the playoffs. They traded for Matthew Stafford, ended up winning the Super Bowl. So the one worry with that is that with that defense, we just talked about all the guys that could potentially leave. So that all-time great defense can go right back to middle of the road in a second.
Well, the plus would be this. The plus would be this, is that the Raiders are not paying the quarterback.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they can make it work.
Yeah, they can make it work.
They can make it work. They're gonna have to look at certain positions and be like, you know what, we can go young here. This guy's replaceable. But as long as you keep like your blue chip players, everybody else is replaceable. If it's a role player, let's be honest, they can be replaceable. But like guys like Max Crosby, we got to keep them. You know what I mean? You want to keep the blue chip players if you can.
But I will say this, because like Rob Ryan spoke about this during his presser. The worry you run into is that I'm sure Philadelphia thought Marcus Epps was replaceable, and then you know, we kind of see what happened with them. You know,
right?
Pittsburgh, even though they tried to keep Spillane, they weren't willing to give Spillane the money that he wanted. I'm sure they thought he was replaceable, right? And their defense, you know, wasn't as good as it traditionally is. So, but you know, they had some injuries too. But it's, you know, like, be careful, because we don't, like, you never really know like how important that even though they may be a cog in the wheel, you never know how important that cog is, right? A guy like Marcus Epps, you know, he was a force multiplier, because not only did he solidify his position, but he turned Trevon Merrick into a better player. So, you know, you have to be careful with those kinds of things. I know Isaiah Palomar was a young guy, and I know like the Raiders have spoken highly of him, but you know, I don't think he's a guy that you trust like guarding the deep middle of the field, or being like, you know, the last kind of line of defense as a safety. So he's more of an in the box guy, hybrid guy, big nickel, like nickel linebacker, that kind of player. So no, and a lot of people will bring him up, but I don't think he's necessarily a replacement for Epps or for Trevon Merrick. So like, these guys, they may seem replaceable, but you know, like we said, we don't know like how vital these guys are at the end of the day. So I'm still going with, like, if with where you put the question, I'm still going defense, but just because at that point you can put all your resources into, hey, if we got to trade up for a quarterback, we know we're good on defense. Let's trade 4 first round picks and get a quarterback that we want at the top of the draft, right?
Yeah, and that's a strategy, not just an all-time great defense. You know what I mean? That's man, if that happens, whew, I want to see that happen in my lifetime as far as the Raiders having an all-time great defense. Because I don't remember last time the Raiders had a great defense. You know, for me as a fan of the Raiders, you know. But that being said, if
early 2000s,
if you want to look at it from perspective of like having a good defense and a young QB, that's something that works. That's Super Bowl winning recipe right there. Look at the Pittsburghs. Look at the New England Patriots. You know, that's something that works. It's proven. So if you're telling me the Raiders get an all-time great defense, yeah, okay, one season they get Trent Dilfer type play from that quarterback position, but guess what? That offseason they're going to upgrade that position, or they're going to go young at quarterback, a guy that maybe could use his legs. You know, he doesn't have to be the Mahomes, but you know, if he's Russell Wilson or if he's a good quarterback at the very least, I'll take that. And I feel like that we can get it done. And then also, you know, look what teams like San Francisco, for example, or if you look at those Seattle teams, right? They're like, San Francisco had a 7th round quarterback, rookie quarterback at leading their team. You know, he wasn't a rookie last season, but y'all get my point. Like, this is a guy that they drafted in the later rounds, but they're everywhere else. They're super talented, and they got arguably the best running back right now in football in Christian McCaffrey. Look at the Seattle team. You got Marshawn Lynch. So if we're able to get a guy at that running back position with defense, you know, the 49ers, as much as I hate them, they were in the Super Bowl. Like, let's be honest, man. That's a lot. You know, if Raiders could even do that, you know what I mean? That'd be beautiful. But that's all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, man, if the Raiders can go out there and have a good defense, man, we're that much closer. I think that they're going to be that much closer to winning. It's crazy. Yeah. They just need to get someone at that quarterback position that he doesn't necessarily have to be. Let's say he doesn't have to be like a Mahomes or like the most talented quarterback out there. He just needs to fit what they need to do. Maybe AOC can get it done. Maybe Michigan can get it done, but I ain't betting on it, man.
The chat is probably spamming AOC right now, and I'm sure they're like, AOC is going to do it. I guarantee it.
Someone's going to be rooting for AOC. I get it. I get it. But
I mean, we all are. We're all rooting for him, but
right,
you know.
Right. But I'm just not betting on it. That's the thing. You know, I want to bet on it.
We've all rooted for the Raiders for a long time too, and just because we root for them doesn't mean they're necessarily going to come through for us. You know, so there's there's an element of realness that has to go into it, and you have to understand kind of what the ceiling there is. And you know, Aiden O'Connell hasn't reached this ceiling yet. You know, I don't believe so. You know, I'm sure the coaches and the fan base don't think so. But just because he hasn't reached the ceiling yet doesn't mean that his ceiling is where we want it to be. You know, is his ceiling a playoff caliber quarterback? We don't know yet. Like, I compared him to Chad Pennington, who's been to the playoffs multiple times, and people like threw a fit. Like, this guy's been to the playoffs multiple times, like with different teams,
right?
And they're like, oh my goodness, they're disrespect. Like, and this is after Aiden O'Connell went what 5-4 as a starter.
Right.
So it's like, you know, like if like, so we have to kind of put these things in perspective and kind of maybe temper expectations. It's okay to have high hopes, but be real on what this guy's ceiling is, and it may not be as high as we all think it is, or what some people think it is.
It kind of has me thinking too, because I'm thinking about the team, and I'm like, all right, well, if you know, and I just thought about it right now. You look at how San Francisco is so talented on a lot of different positions, but they're like, all right, the quarterback play might not be super elite. You know, I understand Purdy put some numbers out there, but it's kind of clear that he's not Mahomes. It's not clear, you know, even to Josh Allen. Like, it's clear that it's not that, but the talent around him is crazy. And I don't want to say that there's nothing wrong with having talent around a quarterback, but I'm just saying, like, if the Raiders are able to get something out of Zamir White, like if Zamir White can be a guy at that running back position, it's going to be huge for this offense. But I'm not sure if what's his ceiling. Can he be a top 5 running back in this league, or is he more of a top 15 as far as his potential goes, like top 15, middle of the pack, solid, running back? Because if you don't have a quarterback on the roster, then that running back position becomes that much more valuable. And if y'all know, man. If y'all been Raider fans long enough, y'all remember those days where, guys like McFadden was pretty much the best player on the team. I know that was way back when, I understand it's a different game nowadays, but it's not that far off, man. Look at Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Best running back in football, obviously the best player, arguably the best player on that team, especially that offense. Like, definitely that offense for sure.
Yeah.
And then Marshawn, obviously all those years with Seattle. So I'm thinking, like, look, we don't have a quarterback. Is it going to be easier to find that running back than that quarterback?
You think about running backs, man. The running back position is so volatile nowadays. Like, I want to say the guy from the Rams was like second team All Pro. I think he was like a 5th round pick. I'm gonna say Kyron Williams. He was second team All Pro, right? Like, he's not a household name. We saw what Davante did early in the year, right? Like, destroying the league, and he wasn't like some big name guy. So, Brees Hall, when he was healthy, he played well. Like, it's very volatile. So it's a few guys that are generally always at the top, and all the people around them are just kind of moving parts. So will Zamir ever be a top 5 back? I don't think so, but I think he can be like a top 10-ish back. And, he was drafted in the 3rd round, and for 3rd round, right?
4th round. I think it was
4th round. 4th round.
Yeah.
So, and that's about where running backs, you generally want to take running backs. And part of the reason why he fell, a large part of the reason why he fell, is that the guy had 2 ACLs in college. And then the other part is that, he wasn't a guy that was really known to be suitable as a 3rd down back. So he wasn't a guy that, we many people thought would be a pass catcher, and he wasn't really great in pass pro. What he was just a very effective runner of the football, with great size for the position and great speed for the position. We were just talking about it before. He ran a 4.4. He's 6'2" or 214, something like that, and with 4.4 speed. So he has that aspect. So the running aspect of things, like, I think he's always had that prowess. It was the other things, and we've commented many a time that he's improved as a pass catcher, and it looked natural for him and down the stretch last year. So that just adds another element to his game. So while I don't think he'll ever break that elite group of running backs with Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and Bijan's going to be there, probably Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be up there, Brees Hall, Davante. I don't think he's going to break into that tier, but I think he can be in that next tier, guys.
Yeah. Now, I hope, man. I hope that is, because I don't know what to expect from Zamir starting as a full-time starter. We seen him a small sample size to finish the season, but full-time starter, does he have that high-end franchise running back? I don't know if that's even possible nowadays, especially with how this a passing league. But there are certain guys, man, like, they can be game changers at that running back position, and it makes it that much easier for the quarterback position. So now, on top of having the weapons, now you make it that much easier. So guys like Purdy, like, they're like, all I got to do is dump it off to McCaffrey. All I got to do is hand it off to McCaffrey, and he's gonna make the big plays, and I could just come in and do what I need to do when the time comes. It makes it easier to, like, play that quarterback position, because not everybody's going to be Patrick Mahomes. Not everybody's going to be an all-time great at that quarterback position. But if you're able to put a team around a quarterback, that's a chance. There's a chance.
Yes.
There's a chance.
Yes.
There's a chance where you could win. And that's the point, man. And, man, look, hey, man, we've been talking about the team, man. Look, who does this, man? I'm just letting y'all know, man. Who does this? We are literally, we're in the belly of the beast right now as far as, the off season. And now until, July 23rd, which is when the Raiders report to training camp. Look, we're talking about Raiders football, man. Like I've always say, 365 days out the year, we're doing it right now. Appreciate the comments. Keep it going. Keep it going, man. Let me give y'all a reminder, man. Make sure to clock in. At this point, clock out. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You're going to see this on all of our channels around the Shield. Obviously, my guy, The Severe Raider, myself, Fair NFL, and Big Mike. He wasn't able to join us today, but he'll be back. Count on that. And yeah, man, we're excited about this team. We just got some questions. You start thinking about the team and different scenarios and things like that. We like to just talk it out, and see hey, is this a possibility? And let us know in the chat, man. Let us know in the comment section. What do y'all think, man? Is it harder to find a franchise quarterback, which I think, yeah, obviously, but or a franchise running back? Yeah. And if it's easier to find a franchise running back, man, maybe the Raiders can go a different route, because there's a chance that Zamir White might not work out next season. Where do you go from there? Are you looking at drafting a running back early, or getting it are you looking for a Band-Aid? It's hard because that running back position has been devalued, but every now and then we see running backs get taken in the first round. We see that happen. I mean, that happened not
2 years ago.
This last draft, but the draft before.
Yeah,
I believe Bijan Robinson was the guy that went. Bijan, I think.
Bijan and Gibbs from Detroit.
And Gibbs, right? And Bijan, people were talking about him being the best player in the draft. That's how good they felt like he was. And, he definitely looked talented out there. Could he have looked better? Obviously, but I'm just saying, Bijan has that talent where he could definitely potentially be a franchise running back. And I think with the way the Raiders are constructed right now, look, if they keep winning, they're not going to be picking a quarterback high. And it's going to be that much harder to get a quarterback. And do you want another Derek Carr where you're getting a guy outside the first, second round, where they become solid, good enough, but are they good enough to get you to the playoffs or, win a playoff game? Those are big things that you got to figure out. But if you have everything solidified, you know what I mean? Like Purdy, you don't have to really do too much. So that's all I'm saying.
Yes, two players on the receiver on the receivers Netflix show, and those guys aren't. Neither one of them are even their best weapon, right?
Right.
Brandon Ayuk probably is. So
yeah, he developed into that too. He came out. He came out the same year Ruggs came out, right? I think that he came out.
Brandon Ayuk, yeah, out of Arizona State. I don't remember what year he came out, but I know he's out of Arizona State.
I think he did. I think he came out the same year Ruggs came out, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, man. Let us know in the chat, man. And I know y'all find out. But yeah, I think
probably
did. I can look that up. But yeah, man. Hey, we appreciate everybody coming through. It's been a great show. Any last thoughts, man? Let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff, Severe.
Yeah, for sure, man. First of all, man, you guys make sure you guys get down in these comment sections, man. Let us know your thoughts on the show. Just any other general Raider thoughts, man. And, chop it up down there, man. It's a community. We're all family, so hey, get down there, man. Don't be scared to let us know what y'all thinking. But yeah, y'all already know what it is. It's the Severe Raider, the Severe Raider on YouTube, the Severe Raider on IG, or the Severe Raider on Snapchat, TikTok, all that good stuff. Today is my son's birthday, man. So happy birthday to my son,
man. Happy G-Day, man. Happy birthday, sure,
man. So appreciate it, and yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Yeah, man. Y'all know where to find me, man. We'll be back here next week. Shout out to Big Mike, man, holding it down for him. I know he had a big project he's working on, so good luck with that. And yeah, man, throw it to you, Pharaoh.
Yeah, man. Hey, like I said, man, I appreciate everybody coming through. Hey, make sure to clock in, clock out at this point. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification, all that good stuff, man. Hey, this is going to be shown on all of our channels, including Big Mike's. So make sure to go over and hit the like button over there. And if you're not subscribed, obviously, come on, y'all already know what to do. And that notification bell is important because obviously you'll be notified when we drop some new content, when we go live, all that good stuff. And to leave a comment, I'm gonna leave a comment, man, because we read the comments, and as well, we'll include you in the show as far as, if you leave a good comment, we're going to go ahead and react to it, man. So we appreciate the support. Look, we're going to be back next week, next Thursday. Don't worry. You can count on that. And obviously, before then, the 50-50 show every Monday night, man. We've been, like I said, hey, don't forget to check that out, man. It's me and Severe, like it is today. But Big Mike's going to be back next week, man, to complete that round of Shield, man. You already know. We appreciate the support. Man, I guess we out of here, man. Oh, by the way, Brandon Ayuk was drafted in the first round in the 2020 draft. So I believe, did Bruggs get drafted in the 2020 draft? I think he did.
I think.
Or was it 2021? It's either
it had to be 2020.
2020. Yep, it was 2020.
2020.
Yeah, it was.
Ayuk was first round. Dang, Ayuk went in the first round?
Yep. Arizona State, San Francisco drafted him.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but he had a slow start to his career. Like, there was a moment in time like, is this dude gonna pan out at the receiver position? But he definitely developed into a really good player. But yeah, man. Hey, look. We got to get out of here, man. We'll see y'all. We'll see y'all next week, starting on Monday, 50-50 show, and then next Thursday, obviously, with the Round the Shield, man. We appreciate the support. Peace. It's that time. All right.
Just the fastest they can.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.